it's Katie with String Expert. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about practicing and getting a practice space set up for you. Now, there are a ton of benefits to practicing because it is the fastest way to improve on playing your instrument. Now, studies show that you can take a private lesson for 30 minutes once a week, not practice at all, and you're going to reap a ton of cognitive benefits. However, if you're serious about playing and improving, then it is recommended that you practice. Now, the basic recommendation for beginner students is 30 minutes to an hour every single day. I will tell you though, if you're really serious about playing the violin, that will get you only to a certain point. A lot of my students practice 8 to 10 hours a day. They work extremely hard, and that's why they are so successful. Michael Phelps is a world Olympic swimmer. He has won, I don't know how many gold medals. And one of the things that he talked about, which I found very fascinating, was the fact that he did not have a rest day. He practiced 7 days a week instead of 6 days a week with his competitors. And he thinks that that extra practice gave him a competitive advantage among all the other people that he swam with. So now that we've talked about why practicing is important, it's really important to get a good solid practice space set up for yourself. Now, this is really important because you want to make it easy for yourself to just jump right in and practice every single day. You don't want to have to fumble around, set up your music stand here, do this setup every single time. It is such a waste of time. So what I would recommend doing is finding a practice space that works perfectly for you. It works perfectly with how you function as a person and what works best for you in terms of mindset. So for example, my sister and I grew up in a family, and there are 7 kids in our family. So it's a huge family. And she and I both played the violin professionally. We both practiced about the same amount. And for her, practicing was really important that she had these bright windows, so she would practice in a bedroom. She'd shut the door, she'd put a sign on the door, "Please don't disturb me, I'm practicing," and she would spend hours in there practicing and playing away. For me, I found that to be very distracting because there was too much stuff going on. I'd want to look out the window, and then I'd want to look at my computer and see what was going on for the day. So what I did is, my dad actually suggested this, and whenever I tell the story, people think I'm a little bit weird, but we actually had an old sauna, that you'd sit in and hot steam would come out, but the sauna part wasn't working. So it was essentially like a really dark room that was soundproofed. And so I would go into that room and I would practice my happy little heart out 8 hours a day and not disturb anybody. I wouldn't have any distractions because nobody could find me. So that part was really amazing. For you, I think it's really important to just sort of experiment and see, okay, does it work for me to be in a more secluded, quiet, dark space? Or is it better to have lights and have a little bit of distraction in order to help me progress the most? Now, the other thing to think about is also where you're going to practice so that you're free of other people. Your family members will want to come in and tell you what you're doing wrong and stuff like that, and that's not very productive. So I would recommend finding a space that is sort of away from everybody else. Like, for example, if you're trying to practice in the living room, it may not be the best space if you have other family members or significant others. Then the other thing that I recommend that my students do is get yourself set up to practice quickly and efficiently. So for example, I always have a music stand set up. My violin sits out because I have a humidifier in my room. And so then my music is already on the stand, so then all I have to do is just show up, grab my violin, and away I go practicing and playing. As opposed to a lot of places where you have to bring in your instrument, get your stand set up, and that takes a lot of time. There's also great practice rooms in schools and colleges, and sometimes for some people those spaces can work great. I had a friend in college, she literally lived in her practice room, and it was at the school so that she didn't bother her roommates, and she would go there and just practice and play. And she got to the point where she was so comfortable with her practice room that she actually had a plant that she brought into the practice room and was growing in there. Pretty funny. So anyway, my advice for you is to really just look at what's going to give you the best energy, what's going to give you the most motivation to practice, and then make sure that you set a time every single day to practice. Stick to that deadline, stick to that time of really working hard to get the most out of your playing. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time at stringexpert.com.